Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Steve Ramona. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. Steve Ramona. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness. Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit, it's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal and every decision, every day to make a powerful impact on others. Today's guest is going to light you up. You'll be motivated, you'll be challenged, and most importantly, you're going to walk away with tools that inspire action both in your life and the lives of others. Audience, here's your homework. How will you serve yourself and others today? Doesn't have to be a big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game. So lean in, take notes. Shout out to my two sponsors, A Mind for All Seasons. Your brain is your greatest competitive edge, and it deserves to perform like one. Want to think faster, remember more, and stay focused longer? Just text the word optimize to 72000. Optimize to 72000 and get instant access to 6 short, powerful videos, each just 3 to 5 minutes, that reveals simple strategies to unlock peak mental performance. Because when your brain is clear, your business grows. And the Epic Impact, the storytelling system that helps your message connect and convert, it's just 4 steps. Engage, persuade, inspire, close with clarity. I use it every day for all my messages. Try it free at epicimpact.ai with code STEVE. Change your messages, change your results. Excited to announce Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast was named top 6 in small business marketing. Thank you all of you, my guests and my audience. You've impacted so many people. Let's continue doing that. Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I'm fired up today. I've just spent 10 minutes or so with the guest. Guess what? Do you eat every day? Do you need food? Do you need water? Absolutely. And I've really changed my diet, and some of you know, doing some different things. Food's very important to me. What is in the food and what are you getting out of it? So let's bring our guest on, because we're going to talk food today. And if it's lunchtime for you or dinner time, I'm sorry, but you'll want to eat after this for sure. Myles, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm excited.
As I said, food. We're busy, especially today than it was 20, 30 years ago. I told you I'm so busy, I used to miss meals, and that's not good. What is your goal? It's called Myles Comfort Food, right?
Yep, that's correct. So my goal is to kind of bridge this gap that we've all become accustomed to in the food industry, which is you need the convenience, right? In your food. We're all, like you mentioned, very busy people going from one place to the other. There's always a to-do list. And sometimes we feel like we need something quick. I'm going to give up something for that quickness, right? So our goal is to bridge the gap between that necessity for convenience and the quality that we get from the food from that convenience.
I love it, because that's the essence why I love what you're doing. Now I know more about what you're doing. I got to ask you a question. Somebody asked me, going through your site, your mac and cheese tastes like it's from home. How do you do that?
It's going to sound oversimplified, but when we started out, I made mac and cheese as, in my home. And I said, what if I freeze it, right? Freeze it tight and then reheat it. Will it keep the integrity? And the answer was absolutely. And it was almost shocking, right? It was that simple. And I said, this has got to be a catch, right? But no, I think if you look at frozen foods, aside from veggies, that aisle has been treated as low cost as possible, which means as low quality as possible. However, if you treat it as you should and just naturally freeze it, you maintain the taste and quality, and you're still getting that, hey, done in the microwave in 5 minutes. And that's what we need.
So if the food's done right and it's frozen, it's still good. It's just they put all the preservatives in the frozen, and same with the Twinkies is always the phrase, hey, you can have a Twinkie in 100 years, eat it type of thing. So you stay away from that because I was going to ask you about frozen food and you answered that because some people are like, that's frozen. It's not going to be as good.
Exactly. And I grew up very fortunate where my parents cooked and I learned how to cook. So we didn't do a lot of frozen meals besides ice cream, the frozen pizza occasionally, things like that. But from the comes to mealtime, it was a big no-no. And there is one group that has done a good job in that category, which is your frozen veggies, right? They have educated the consumer population to say, hey, it's just frozen vegetables that retain nutrients as opposed to it spoiling in the produce category. And so we're kind of taking a similar approach of preserving our nutrients and the quality and just so it's readily available in your freezer.
Man, you talk, you're getting me hungry and excited all at the same time. This is very cool. What inspired you to get into food?
I mean, for me, food was more than just this piece of furniture. I mean, this thing in the house, and the dinner table was not just a piece of furniture. I mean, it was the centerpiece, right? And so all of my memories growing up, food was always the core element of that memory. And as I got older, I used food as a kind of a callback to my upbringing, right? It was the nostalgia baked into the food. And then once I started to learn how to cook, it was the passion and the creativity that really drove me forward. So after I graduated college, I competed on a Food Network show called America's Best Cook. And I was never culinary, I wasn't trained professionally, but I had just had a deep passion for the kitchen. So I did this show. I didn't make it past episode one. Like it was kind of a quick in and out, but I came home from that experience and I said, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to create something with food.
I love that you were on that show. That's been my goal. I'm 64. Probably never happened. That's Sarah could do it, but I'm envious now because I always watch those and it's pretty cool. I know there's a lot of pressure, right, when you do those shows.
Oh man, it was. And this is the thing where at the time I was 22 years old, fresh out of college, and they didn't tell you what the show would be. They just said show up and then go. So I was nervous beyond belief, knowing my lack of experience. But it was number one, it broke my nerves. So now after that, I was never really nervous for anything again. But it also, like I said, propelled me onto this career
Well, that's cool. Wish you would have won, but just being there that one
path.
show and out, look how much you learned. It's probably going to make you
Exactly.
thousands of dollars compared to what the reward was, whatever that is for that. So, in your information is comfort food. When I hear it, be completely honest, I'm thinking McDonald's, fast food. It's wrong, but explain, give us a better impression and just and description of comfort food.
That's a really great question because it's such a ubiquitous term, but it means something for different people, right? So for me, it's tied to Southern soul food, Southern comfort food, right? And then the funny thing is that people will say, well, is it healthy? And I'll say, no, but it carries your nutritional value that you need. Like it's high in protein, it's got fiber, but it's healthy for the soul, right? When you eat it, you feel good. Like it's like a warm hug, And so it's healthy from a mental standpoint. But yeah, that's my comfort food.
Well, you open the can of worms, which I was going to go to the nutritional value. Is your food really? I'm gonna say good for people, but I'll say it that way. Is it nutritional value at a higher level?
Yeah. So another good question. It's got 24 grams of protein in a serving, right?
Ooh,
Yeah. And so if you pair that with a half rotisserie chicken and veggies, you're in a good place, right? Now, because it is a mac and cheese product, it does have saturated fat. But these are coming from sources like cheese, butter, right? So it's everything that's in the product is how I'll put it this way: you don't need an encyclopedia or dictionary to read off our ingredient label, and that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted you to be able to read that panel and say, if I were to make this for my family, I would probably use these ingredients too. It's that comfortability. And it's not something you would eat every day, right? This is something I'll eat on a Thursday during lunch when I ran out of my meals for the week, for meal prep. It might be a Sunday afternoon while I'm watching the football game. Like there are occasions where this is a perfect fit.
Well, my wife's family is soul food lovers. They're African American and gospel, and you're if they're listening, when they listen to this, they're going to go crazy because you're. That's exactly what I hear and feel when you eat soul food with the family. And see, that's the other thing that I love that you're doing, even though it's frozen, it's delivered. What a Why do meetings have food? Why do people go out and golf course have food? Why do stadiums have? I mean, it brings people together. I guess is the point.
Yep,
Do you feel the same
exactly.
with your product?
Absolutely, right? And it's funny because yes, it's a individual meal, like a single serve pack, but I created this as a bridge to number one, remind me of my family when I was, after I left the home, but also it's the mac and cheese as a dish is a traditionally family oriented dish. And so if I can kind of help bridge that gap through the food that I make, then that's what I want. And I want to encourage dinner time moments. I think we've gotten away from that the past, I don't know, 10 to 10 years or so.
Yes.
And I hope this food serves as a reminder or sort of a vessel to start to reconnect that dinner table experience.
And you're absolutely right. It's I mean, we don't eat dinner at a dinner table, we eat in front of the TV, and it's just how it's changed. And you're gonna push
Hmm.
people there because guess what? This pops in the microwave, they're done in 10, 15 minutes. You're not cooking for an hour. So people can come in, sit at the
Exactly.
table, and enjoy their family. So is mac and
Yep.
cheese the only food product? What's your menu look like?
Yep. So we have three different flavors of mac and cheese. So we went traditional. That was kind of the entrance, and then we did a buffalo chicken and a Philly steak and cheese because I'm from Philadelphia. So I wanted to bring that flavor of Philly into the market too. That's our initial product line. We're going to extend on that with. I'm looking at doing the shrimp and grits, which is another southern staple. I'm thinking of doing something with collard greens because that's a little difficult. That's a labor of love product that takes hours on the stovetop. So I gotta figure that out. But I always think of those items and say if I can reproduce those in a frozen state, like just such a good time.
Well, I just had collard greens for the first time a few years ago. I'm hooked. I didn't think
I'm
because I love
telling you.
spinach. Oh yeah, it just melts, with the bacon and
Oh my
it's
God, I
sorry,
know.
audience, we're making you hungry. Well, go buy some comfort food. I know where you can go. Um, what Give us an idea of one of your customers that bought your food and the great testimony you got from them.
It's funny. That always is a question of ours because mac and cheese is such a I'll call it mass loved item. So a lot of different people or customer types that could fit. What I found though recently is actually a friend of mine. She said she buys my product because it's a reliable savior. If she's working late at the office and she's hungry and she knows she doesn't want to pick up something like Chipotle on the way home, she can pop this in the microwave and keep on working. That same person that's like, hey, I just finished a great workout. It's a Friday. I worked all week. I want to treat myself, but also get my protein. I go to your product. Um, and then, funny enough, when we're out and about, a lot of times grandparents are like, my kids are coming home for the weekend and I want to give them like a treat. And I don't want to have to make a whole pot of mac and cheese. That's something I would have never guessed until people just straight up told me.
Well, you answered even better than I thought you were. I knew you'd give me a great answer, but that is very cool. I even think, yeah, how many people work, especially nowadays, working those 60-hour weeks, which I
Mhm.
don't suggest if you don't have to, but yeah, you're at the office and you got to eat. And you're right. That's where fast food comes in. I've done it. I think everybody in the world's done it. Like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
McDonald's right there. I'm starving. Can't wait to
Yep.
get home. Way you go. And that's part of the reason of, obesity in this world and things happening. What is
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was going to say, and I'm the personality type where I have to eat for mental reasons. Like if I start to skip a meal, my work shows. Like let's say lunchtime is I gotta eat by like 12:30, 1 o'clock. If I don't, things go haywire. so so for me, it's like, hey, at all times I need to pre-plan what I'm gonna eat so I don't panic when 12:30 hits.
Yeah. You're an entrepreneur. We've talked about before the show. And, you said something that one of your powers or your one words to describe you as level headed. I've never heard that before, but talk about that with an entrepreneur, how important that is.
Very important because this whole journey is such a roller coaster,
Mhm.
and you'll get good news 1 hour, terrible news the second hour, and it'll fluctuate back and forth. You'll get moments of just kind of being stale. You get moments that you're not inspired. I mean, 10 years in, 11 years in, I've experienced the entire gambit, and it's forced me to regulate the highs and lows trying to emphasize the highs, but also know that it's going to go up and down until this thing is over. And being level headed helps me be much more definitive and clear about decision making. Because when you start to be, emotionally erratic, that's when you make those critical mistakes. So one of the biggest lessons is walk away when you need to, close the laptop when you need to. I used to be a big proponent of like, if it's not working, keep going at it, right? That doesn't always work out the way you want it to. Sometimes it's very important to work out. Like I'm a huge gym guy. I work out for mental clarity. Heck, if you have to take a nap, like, and do something to kind of break that spiral, so you can come at it at a different time. And that all comes from being level headed, just knowing. And here's another one too. As entrepreneurs, we feel like it's all eyes on us, but we fail to realize is that everyone else has eyes on themselves, right? And we kind of put that pressure on ourselves, and we think, "Oh my God, I have to appear a certain way, do this thing." But if you are confident in your decision making and you're level headed, things will kind of come into place and do it, and it'll be a much smoother ride than not doing it that way.
Well, you're a brilliant guy. If your food's half as brilliant as you are, it's going to be a seller. Because I love what you said about taking a nap. People are like, 10 years ago, they put you down. My dad, in the 60s, he worked 60 or 70 hours a week. That's what you did in the 60s and 70s. That was your badge of honor. Go take a nap. You need to be healthy to be able to serve the people you want to serve. It's powerful. What does Miles Comfort Foods look like in the next 12 months?
It's extending beyond grocery stores. So right now we're featured in
Hmm.
Whole Foods, we're in Central Market, we're in retail, but it is how do we change that convenient food outside of grocery? And I'm talking about in our school systems. It's within where we travel, right? And I want to introduce this lineup of clean, high protein foods into those spaces as well. I look at my daughter's school lunch menu and I'm like, really? And I know they're dealing with budget issues, and it's a mass issue, right? That I have no control over. But if I can play a role in that, even in hospitality systems, that's where I want the company to be in the next 12 months.
God bless you, because the food is terrible. I don't have kids, but I
Yeah.
hear from parents all the time. It's like, holy mackerel. And they make them eat it. We're not, that's a black hole we got to stay away from right now. So, but I'm so glad that you said that and you have the desire to do that. So you just mentioned it. So what stores is it in? And can they get it online as well?
So we're trying to launch online. Online's a bit difficult because it's a frozen product, and so
Yeah.
shipping frozen is very expensive. Logistics are a bit wonky, but we are available in over 500 locations. So Whole Foods, I would say you're looking at the South, Southeast, and the Mid Atlantic region. We're in Central Market down in Texas, where I'm at now, and then we're also available in Gelson's Market, which is out on the West Coast. So we've got coverage, like I said, about 550 locations right now.
Fantastic. That's great. Can't wait till you come to the West Coast, because now I'm hungry for mac and cheese, which I love. It's you throw that protein in there, it's fantastic. What's a tip you would give an entrepreneur listening? I have a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners listening. What's one tip you've learned over all these years of the ups and downs you mentioned earlier?
It's funny. If I can, I got two for you. I got
Yeah.
one that I traditionally say, which is still true, which is know your why. Right? I mean, an idea is an idea, but it's the why that'll keep you grounded. It'll help with your decision making. It'll really help at your guiding north star. It's what's going to keep you going when things get rough. It's going to be really what drives your entire culture for the company that you're building. That is universally true. The other advice that I have, which I don't say enough, is just remember that your your balance sheet and your P&L are vitally important, probably more so than you think. They're not just reports you run at the end of the month. That's the pulse of your business. And I tell entrepreneurs, don't fall victim to ignoring that, thinking you're going to outgrow it and it's not going to matter because you're going to make millions. The foundation of those things are what's going to help you build an actual brand that's going to function over time. And it's very easy. We get sucked into the idea of the multi-billion-dollar tech firm that has 1,000 employees, and I'm like, that's a unicorn. Most companies don't operate like that. So sound financials is. I ignored it in the beginning too, and I got an MBA. So heed my warning. do not ignore it, right? Focus on that. But as I said, focus on your brand too.
So that leads to the question of, if you're look at somebody, what would you say they need to have to be an entrepreneur business owner or work on? Because we don't have, you didn't, we didn't have all this stuff, me and you. We learned a lot of our stuff. What do you think that first thing is for them?
From a soft skill standpoint, it's discipline. There is a burden of responsibility of entrepreneurship that a lot of folks don't understand. Um, a lot of folks, including myself early on, are in love with the allure of entrepreneurship. We love the idea of time independence and being able to do what we want. But you remove the security blanket when you do that, and it gets very cold. So you need to be very sure that you are able to handle that kind of pressure and stress and be ready for the responsibility that comes with it. And if your why is so fundamentally sound and your passion is there, it'll take care of it. But if it's just an idea on the back of the napkin and you're like, this is a great idea without understanding why you're doing it, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you.
Yeah. What makes your, I forgot to ask this, and we have a little bit of time here, different than the other types of frozen foods out there that you think that people are going to see?
It's the connection. That's a great question because I try not to say it's product attribute based because anyone anyone can do that, right? And so we can say, oh, we're high in protein, we're clean label, and those are great, but it's the nostalgia baked into the product that I think does the impact. It's the feeling that we invoke, it's the brand, it's the story, it's all these soft things that make the brand what it is. Most of our cult following brands have built a brand off of that, right? Coke has never talks about its actual soda. Apple never talks, when they first came out, they weren't saying we have the best computer. They were giving you a vision and a ideas. Patagonia, the same way. We're trying to do this. We're replicating that in the food we create.
That's big, and that's for entrepreneurs. I hope you're listening because that's such a huge tip. And not everybody can be an entrepreneur. We talked about before the show, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's everybody looks at it. It's not glim and glamour as you think it is. We can both tell you that for sure. There's great days, and there's days like, what the hell am I doing today? You just
Yeah.
find, I
Oh,
love
yeah.
that. Let's end with this. If somebody wanted to start a food product company, I know a couple people that are, what's one tip you'd give them if they're going to jump into food?
Don't go too big too early. Sometimes
Mm.
when I speak to entrepreneurs, they're like, I want to launch a brand and go nationwide. No, you don't. That comes with a crazy amount of headache and you don't have the money for it, right? I never did, still don't. Um, Go deep, right? If you're gonna launch something in food, know why you're doing it. Identify your customer early on and know that customer in and out. You know them more than they know themselves. Make them your hero and build a community around that person and your brand. Then things will naturally progress from there.
I love to stay small. Even if you're a multi-billionaire, stay small. If somebody gives you
Yeah.
$10 million, don't spend all 10 million. I love that because we think, oh, we've got, because our passion is great, but it's not so great. Because I could tell you're passionate about your food. And you
Right.
go, everybody's going to eat it. I'm just going to put all this money in. I'm going to be in 10 million stores. Oops, it's not selling. And I
Yeah.
love that.
Uh,
Grow with the growth in a sense.
yep. Perfect.
I love that. That actually turned out. See, sometimes the host gets it right. I love it. So let's end with a fun question. I always like to do a little improv. So I've got speaking of food, a reservation at a restaurant, table of 4. You can come in if you're married, you can have your family there, but those 3 empty chairs, who would you invite, whether they're dead or alive, that you want to listen to, get mentoring from, always wanted to talk to? But I think the most important question on top of that is, what food does Myles order?
Ooh, okay. Well, the easy is the food one, so I'll go with the people because that's the harder one.
I figured.
So if it's not family or it's not family or friends, I'm gonna start with Denzel Washington. The reason being is that it wasn't until recent that I really understood how difficult acting is. Because I hit me like, man, you are convincing me you're somebody else for 3 hours. That's not easy. So and he's my favorite actor, so definitely him. Um, You know, my second one, that's a hard one. It would probably be, hmm, I'm gonna go with sports, and I'm gonna go with, you know what, I'm gonna go with Allen Iverson. And I say that because I grew up as a Philly sports fan, and he was someone who was very true to himself against the odds of being true to himself. And I think it's very important in entrepreneurship. So he's number two. And then number three, let me see if I can go a little unique and different with this one. Let's say if I go entrepreneurship, let's go with the founder of, actually, you know what? It's a gentleman that I met because I did Shark Tank very briefly, Mark Cuban, because he actually gave me some really good advice when we did Shark Tank a few years ago. And I would love to expand on that conversation with him.
Okay, this is a conversation. I knew I recognized you. I'm a huge Shark Tank. You were on Shark Tank. Or
Well,
were you?
we pitched the Sharks, but we didn't get airtime, unless I'm mistaken, which is very possible. But we weren't initially scheduled to air. This is about 3 years ago.
I'll have to check that out. And audience, I'm speaking to him as like we're at a coffee shop because I'm going to check that out because I don't recognize your name and maybe because I love the name, maybe that's what it is. Okay, and we'll talk about and Allen Iverson real quick, audience. If you want to look, yeah, you see the rap. This guy is him and Shaq are rebuilding Reebok, and there's a TV show I've
Yeah,
been watching. I've learned so much from business from
yeah,
those two guys, so I'm glad you
yeah.
mentioned that. So I'm going to bring a table, Sharon, because I've got to sit with you. What are we eating?
Oh man, this is the easy one. So it's my, if I had a magic wand to do my go-to meal, it would be fried chicken, sweet potatoes, collard greens, mac and cheese, biscuits, and my drink would be probably like a either like a some kind of a lemonade or a tea, probably a lemonade. That's my, like, I could eat that every day. And I wouldn't, my body wouldn't like it, but I could try to eat that every day.
My wife's gonna go crazy when I tell her after this show because and I love all that too. So now I'm hungry as heck. That's good. Hey, Myles, you're awesome.
Thank
You've
you, Steve.
dived
This has been
into
this is great.
it's been great, and you've dived into a competitive field. You are going to be successful. I'm going to help you too, because your passion, your why is so
Thank you.
big, and you're really trying to help people. How can people reach out, connect with you, and ask questions about your food?
Yep. So I'm always on LinkedIn. Full name Myles Powell. I'm on Instagram through the company Myles Comfort Foods, TikTok as well. And then my email is miles@milescomfortfoods.com.
Super simple. Thanks again, Myles. An audience, subscribe to the YouTube channel or any other. But here's a great thing. You have people that love mac and cheese. I'm just going to tell you right now, share this podcast. You know, people are entrepreneurs. He just taught me. I got notes here of cool things like staying small and growing slowly. That's one tip that can make somebody thousands, if not millions of dollars. So these are absolute gifts, these podcasts. Share them out as gifts. Help people. Let's impact people. With that being said, me and Myles want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Enjoy your mac and cheese today. Myles Comfort. Go get it. Talk to you soon.